Ever catch yourself like squinting at your computer screen, wrestling with a website that feels like it's out to get you?
Oh, tell me about it.
Seriously. Tiny buttons, impossible to click, text so small it could be an eye exam. It's beyond frustrating.
It is, and it makes you think there's a bigger issue here.
Right. Bad design. It
Nah.
impacts everyone.
Absolutely.
So today we're kind of jumping into two different worlds, accessible design and then ethical hacking
Okay.
to see how they actually connect.
I like it.
We're taking a deep dive into designing for everyone
Right.
and looking at how important ethical hacking is becoming in, well, the digital world.
Yeah, and it's interesting about designing for everyone. It's not just some nice idea.
Right.
It's really crucial for businesses.
Yeah.
And honestly, the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And the source, designing for everyone, it
Right.
really makes you realize how many people experience some kind of disability.
It's a lot.
Huge portion of the population. Visual, we're talking auditory, motor, cognitive, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Designing for accessibility means making sure everyone can be a part of the digital world, no matter their abilities.
You're not just checking boxes so you can say you follow the rules, are you?
No, not at all. Look at it like a business owner.
Okay.
Why would you want to exclude like a huge group of potential customers?
Yeah, that's not smart.
Plus, think of the PR nightmare.
Oh, for sure.
If people find out your website is basically shutting people out.
Totally.
Designing for everyone touches on this, but it's worth repeating. An inclusive website. It's not just ethical, it's smart business.
Okay, so we're talking ethics and good business sense all in one. That's a good combo.
Powerful combo.
It's like that example from the article, the website that redesigned how you check out, made it accessible.
Oh, rare.
Simple things, bigger fonts, colors that are easy to see, and it worked with screen readers.
And what happened?
People followed through with their purchases more, especially users with disabilities.
Interesting.
So it proved that designing for accessibility wasn't just, the right thing to do.
yeah,
It actually helped them make more money.
there you go. Accessibility, good design, they go together.
They really do. Makes you think, have you ever stumbled on one of those websites that felt impossible to use?
Like, where do I even click?
Exactly. What could they have done to make it a better experience for everyone?
It's a great question. And it actually leads us perfectly into the world of ethical hacking.
Okay.
Believe it or not, ethical hackers, they have a big role in making websites truly accessible for everybody.
It really is like trying to get through a minefield sometimes with those websites.
It can be, yeah.
And that brings us to ethical hacking because I was reading in this next source, these guys, they're like digital detectives,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
making the internet safer and what's really cool, more accessible.
That's right.
Neat.
Ethical hackers, they're the cybersecurity pros using their skills to find those weak spots.
Okay.
And they fix them before, the bad guys can get in.
So they're like thinking ahead of the bad guys,
Yeah.
breaking in so they can tell us how to keep them out.
That's a good way to think about it.
Okay.
They're the good guys.
So they're not just stopping those data breaches everyone's always worried about. They're
Yeah.
making it so everyone can use the internet, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Making it better for everyone.
Right.
And what's really interesting is they don't just deal with security holes.
Yeah.
Ethical hackers, they can spot those accessibility issues too.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I never would have thought of that. What does that look like?
So let's say an ethical hacker is checking out a website.
Okay.
They might use something called a screen reader.
Okay.
It reads out loud what's on the website.
Oh, okay.
So they can see how someone who can't see well would experience it.
Yeah.
Or they might use keyboard navigation tools to see how someone who can't use a mouse gets around.
So they're basically becoming those different users
Yeah.
in the digital world anyway.
Yeah, to see if the website really is accessible. They're looking for things like colors that are hard to see or buttons you can't get to without a mouse. Stuff that would make it impossible to use the site.
So they're like doing their own deep dive,
Exactly.
finding those hidden problems. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to look for those.
And here's the best part. They don't just point out the problems.
Per.
Like with security issues, they'll tell you how to fix it.
Oh, that's helpful.
Because they know how websites are built, they give you real advice on making it accessible.
So it's not just, hey, you've got a problem, it's here's what you do.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
One of the big things to take away from all this is that ethical hackers can be like accessibility auditors, making sure anyone can use websites, not just people without disabilities.
That's huge. It's like having an inclusivity expert right there on your team. We talked earlier about how you have to test accessibility with those assistive technologies, the tools people with disabilities use every day. Do ethical hackers use those when they're doing this work? So we've been talking about these ethical hackers. They're like accessibility auditors, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to think of it.
But do they use the actual tools that people with disabilities use every day?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a really important part of what they do.
Okay.
Like, they might use screen readers, like JWS or NVDA.
Okay.
And these are programs that read whatever's on the website out loud.
Okay.
So people who can't see well can still use the website. And by using those same tools, ethical hackers see how well a website works for someone with a visual disability.
It's like they're stepping right into almost like a simulation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like virtual reality, but for the web.
To see what it's like using these tools.
Yeah. And it goes beyond screen readers, too.
Okay.
They might use keyboard navigation tools, to kind of copy what it would be like if you couldn't use a mouse.
Right.
This lets them see if there are any roadblocks for people who need to use the keyboard to get around online.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're looking for anything that you can't really get to easily or click on without a mouse.
So they're kind of putting on all these different, almost like lenses or something,
That's a really good way to put it.
to see the website through all these different viewpoints.
Exactly. And remember we were talking about ethical hackers, how they look at different internet speeds and stuff.
Yeah.
They'll do that to check how a website works. If someone's internet is really slow,
Yeah.
like imagine you're waiting forever for this page to load.
Oh, what's the word?
And then it finally does, but you can't even use it
Right.
because it wasn't designed well.
Ooh.
Ethical hackers, they can find those issues and then make sure websites are usable no matter how good or bad someone's internet is.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. These are the people, right? The cybersecurity folks who we think of as like protecting our data, our information.
Right.
But they're also out there making the internet a better place for everyone to use, you know?
It really shows how everything's connected. Technology, ethics, how people actually use the web. When we design with everyone in mind, it makes everything better.
It really does. Well, this deep dive has been really eye-opening. We started talking about accessible design, then got into the world of ethical hacking, and found this, I don't know, unexpected but really cool connection where digital security and being inclusive, they actually go hand in hand.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to remember is that ethical hacking, it's not just about, firewalls and passwords and all that.
Right.
It's about making the digital world a place where everyone's welcome, whether you have a disability or not.
Absolutely. If you want to learn more about this stuff, accessible design, how ethical hackers are making the web a more inclusive place, we'll have links to everything we talked about in the show notes. And as always, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.